Tech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on November the 22nd in the year of our Lord 2025. And as usual, I got some pretty good stuff for you. Let me just go ahead and click Mertech on Rumble. Come over here to my Rumble channel. This is the video we're watching right now, my live stream, episode 1754. Let me get into here. And as usual, I got that. Hi, Debbie BS. I'm glad you could join us bright and early. Okay, let me click the Show More button to expand out the description box. We have information from Chicks on the Right and Devory Darkins, Dr. Steve Turley, and Doug in Exile. Sorry, Wendy Bell didn't broadcast today. Sorry about that, all you Wendy Bell fans. But let's go ahead and slide down here and give a shout out to JJG09, just started following my channel. Ace Tech Detective just started following my channel. Is John 58 just started following my channel. Silver Addict just started following my channel. J206H4N7 just started following my channel. And Marela 3 just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy your content. Okay, folks, let's slide down here. And Debbie BS reposted my episode 1753, and Debbie BS reposted my episode 1752. Ken Durr commented on my extra 537C, and Debbie BS commented on my extra 538A, 538B, and 538C. So thank you very much, folks, for your comments and reposting my videos. That's how we get the word out there. Let me give this a thumbs up. Boom. Just that easy. Just that easy. And I have one of those little thumbs up icons right here just below the video. So if you don't mind sliding down and giving me a thumbs up on this video, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, let's see what Chicks on the Right has to say about Jasmine Crockett's dumbest moment yet. And that's saying something. Okay, then. Let's check this out.
You guys, Jasmine Crockett is a complete imbecile.
She gets no grace. She gets no grace at all. None.
Zero grace. So she was on the House floor, bitching about the Epstein files. This was, I guess, ahead of the House vote or maybe right after it. And she tried to pin Jeffrey Epstein giving donations to a whole big bunch of Republicans and ended up having to absolutely eat crow as a result. We'll give you that story, but here's what she said on the House floor.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly.
Oh.
Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review.
And they were reviewed, as a matter of fact. So Jonathan Turley tweeting, Jasmine Crockett actually attacked EPA head Lee Zeldin for receiving money from Jeffrey Epstein. The problem was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein, a New York doctor. And Zeldin responded, yes, Crockett, a physician named Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who is a totally different person than the other Jeffrey Epstein, donated to a prior campaign of mine. No freaking relation, you genius.
Oh my God. I mean, just so
It's beautiful.
stupid. So how many Jasmine Crockett staffers does it take to screw in a light bulb, you guys? I mean, that's where we're at. Just listen, these House representatives, they get, I think it's up to 18 staffers full-time. And then four part-time staffers. Okay. That's who was working behind the scenes to do this shit. So think about it, 22 people couldn't catch this. We're paying those people, you guys. We're paying them and they get benefits. That's what we're paying these people. Yeah. 22 people are that stupid.
And incidentally, I heard when AOC, when she first got into office, they can pay their staffers up to $50,000 a year without having to have any explanation as to why they're paying their staffers. So AOC hired her boyfriend. That's a story I got back when, and paid him $50,000 a year. Now what he did, I don't know. But if you got 19 staffers at $50,000 a year, folks, or 18 staffers at $50,000 a year, that's $900,000 a year. Plus, the House Representatives' salary is, I believe, about $174,000. So now we're talking over $1 million, almost $1,000,001, plus your 4 part-time. What you pay them, $25,000 a year? So that's $1.2, $1.3 million just in salaries, and not including, as she mentioned, benefits. So we're probably $2 million a year for each representative, and probably a little bit more for senators. There's 536, is there? At $1 million. So we're talking over $500 million a year just for the salaries and staffers in Congress. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice?
And they're getting benefits. I want y'all to just let that sit with it.
Marinate
I want
on
you
that
to
a little.
marinate in that for a second, that we're paying all those people, including her gigantic salary. We're paying all those people to not know this, to not be able to Google that.
Or they Googled it and thought there can only be one Jeffrey Epstein in the entire world.
That's the thing. These people are utter dumbasses. And this is the government. This is what we're paying for. This 18 plus 4 plus her. Congratulations.
And it gets better because when she tried to, when Caitlin, again from CNN, gave her an opportunity to correct the record, it's almost like it shows some amazing talent on Jasmine Crockett's part to be able to give an excuse this ridiculous. Just listen, you won't even believe your ears how she excuses this away. It's incredible.
Do you want to correct the record on the people that
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein. So at least I wasn't trying to mislead people.
I cannot believe that she's saying that. Like, that's just, oh my God.
Yeah, she's utter trash. Just absolute trash. Okay. I cannot believe this woman is running anything. Okay. Honestly. It's
incredible.
Own up to it. Own up to what you were trying to do.
Right.
And you and your team are so stupid. You screwed up.
I mean, that was a big F up. And the fact that she thinks that's going to fly with anybody. Come on.
We know exactly what you were trying to do. And you effed up because you're stupid.
Big time.
And your team's stupid.
And you know who else thinks she's stupid? Laverne Spicer. Hide your kids. Hide your wives. Because you're going to read Laverne's latest, directed at Jasmine Crockett.
Here we go.
Please enjoy.
Girl. Okay, wait. Dear Jasmine Crockett. Girl, you are one stupid ass hoe. Did you really stand on the House floor accusing Lee Zeldin, Mitt Romney, George Bush, and other Republicans of taking dirty money from Jeffrey Epstein? Bitch, don't you know it's a million men? Don't you know it's a million men named Jeffrey Epstein in America who ain't the dead pedo? You couldn't spend 30 seconds on Google before rushing out to slander Republicans with that tired ass gotcha game. The real Jeffrey Epstein has been dead since 2019, and some of them donations came after he was gone. What'd he do to channel them from the motherfucking grave, skank? Jasmine, we all know facts ain't never been your strong suit. Racism is. I got to look at this before I read it just to make sure. That's why your motherfucking ass ain't got no business being anywhere near the House floor unless you being censored on it or mopping it. This ain't the hair and nails group chat, bitch. This is the United States Congress. Act like it. My favorite is act. Act like it.
Oh my God, I love her.
I can't. I do. I love her too. I totally love her.
This is the greatest
I just have to
beat down.
it is. Every day. We're going to be reading some Laverne text, y'all.
I mean, no one really says it like Laverne.
No.
You know?
And being able to read that. Listen, I didn't say it. So
no, you were being asked to read it.
Right. If people are coming at me saying, listen, you can't say those words, Daisy. I didn't say them. Laverne did. I'm just paying homage to Laverne. Okay.
Next, we got to work on your black scent, because if you can do that, that's going to be.
I think I did all right with the
I mean, it was okay, but you
could
you could amp it up a little. You know what I mean?
I'll work on it. I'll start practicing this weekend, you guys. I'll definitely practice over Thanksgiving break and do a little bit of this, and I'll start.
I think I'll
start working on that. Mm-hmm.
Do that when you're not practicing your target practice and safely storing your firearm.
Okay, they're going into a commercial here now. Again, we have no Wendy tonight, but hopefully the chicks on the right filled in for fairly well. I enjoyed that. And incidentally, the chicks on the right are from Indianapolis, where I live. They used to be on the radio, WIBC, in fact, 97.4, I believe, on your AM dial. That's where Rush Limbaugh used to be. But at any rate, I am subscribed to their channel. This is from YouTube. I've given them a thumbs up. I hope you do the same for me. All righty then. Well, let's jump back here and see what Devory Darkins has to say. Brutal moment. Jeffries humiliated by CNBC host regarding Obamacare. Okay, let's check this out.
As well. And it's interesting times because as we go into this holiday season, it just seems every single day is about more drama, right, on Capitol Hill. And our representatives are not focusing on the key issues. And I think it's good as we go into this holiday season to, refocus on the things that matter, which is why you guys know, if you've been tuning in, I like to focus on solutions. And that's exactly what we're going to do in today's show, because two big things happened already this morning. One, Hakeem Jeffries was given an opportunity to define what Democrats plan to do about Obamacare, and he utterly failed. In fact, he was humiliated. Secondly, new polls have come in about the economy, and it continues to get worse. And as I told you guys, it's a season. This is the season where, there's all this complaining, and we're not seeing the results from the economic policies of the president yet. And so you're going to continue to see negative polls, all right? That's just the bottom line to it. And then housing is another issue. And so, again, I'm going to make some time today to go over things that people could be doing. And so, this is, I guess, a heads up that if you want to share the show with someone that might need to hear this information, definitely share it. And if you're new here, you don't know who I am, this is all about common sense commentary for these uncommon times. I just put up a post on X as an example. I think the number one issue that on both sides of the political spectrum we should find common ground on, and that is to get money out of politics. Every issue that we are continuing to complain about in this country could be sourced back to the fact that our politicians are slave to their donors, special interest groups, and themselves. They're not going to do what's in the best interest of Americans. That is a problem. Why? Because the younger generation, they're not going to have any patience for this. I keep saying it. They're going to burn it down. They will be radical. They're going to do things that we wouldn't probably do. And I think there's still time and opportunity to truly help them out. So that's why I said later on in this video, we're going to go over these solutions. So why don't we start with Hakeem Jeffries? Okay. So let me give you guys the background here. We already know for 42 days, was actually 43 days, what was the number one talking point from Democrats? ACA subsidies this and ACA subsidies that, and that 21 million Americans are going to die if we don't extend these subsidies. You guys remember that? That's exactly what Bernie Sanders had stated. Hakeem Jeffries said the same thing. Chuck Schumer said the same thing. And as soon as the government was back open again, what did they switch to? Epstein this and Epstein that. And we want to know what relationship Trump had with Epstein and all this other stuff. And then Plaskett comes out. It's shown that she was texting with Epstein, and then they want to look the other way. Okay. That was the main talking point. Okay. And so now he makes this appearance on CNBC, and she's just asking him point blank, hey, what are you guys doing about Obamacare? I thought you guys were complaining about these ACA subsidies, and particularly Hakeem Jeffries. First off, and I have to explain this, this guy was on record for not wanting a 1-year extension on the ACA subsidies. This is during the government shutdown. Okay. Now, obviously, they want to go back to that. In fact, they want to go further. They want a 3-year extension on ACA subsidies, and Republicans aren't going to go for that, because what that signals is what just happened 3 years ago, which is we're going to vote on these ACA subsidies, meaning we're just going to kick it down the road 3 years from now, meaning another administration is going to have to deal with it. Another Congress will have to deal with it. So I want to give you guys the context, because as we get into this exchange between Hakeem Jeffries and this host, it makes sense why he gets so irritated with her, because she's calling him out on his BS. And then we're going to get into some of the technical stuff regarding Obamacare. All right, let's start with this first clip.
Get done, you are going to need at least some Republicans to come over. Why not start with a 1-year extension, or potentially even a 2-year extension?
Well, Leader Schumer offered a 1-year extension in the context of trying to end the Trump Republican shutdown.
Yeah, that's different. What I'm talking about, what you have now. Let's not go back to what's done in the past and what has not been extended. If you want to get something that has actually done, you need to do something that will have bipartisan.
You can ask me the question. You can ask me the question. I'll provide the answer.
Answer the question instead of going back.
I'll provide the answer. No. I'm providing an answer in order to provide context. Republicans have repeatedly refused to take yes for an answer. It was a very reasonable multi-year extension that was offered. It was a 1-year straight extension plus a multi-year process through a bipartisan commission to more permanently resolve the Affordable Care Act issue. So having that context is absolutely important, regardless of what you may think.
It's important context to make me realize that I don't think you want to get a deal done. I think this is something where you'd like to see the rates go higher and allow the Republicans to hang themselves with that. Is that the answer?
That's absolutely a ridiculous assertion. And really, shame on you.
3 years is not going to get passed, so what do you do?
Shame on you for saying that.
Yeah, she's calling him out, okay? Guys, this is the way it is in Congress, right? Both sides will come up with a proposal they know is a non-starter. They know the other side is immediately going to shoot it down, but they are going to offer it anyway, knowing what it's going to lead to, which is a gridlock. So it's just what happened with the government shutdown, okay? All right, Democrats knew walking into the president's office, literally the Oval Office, and having that meeting about healthcare, they knew that wasn't going to get anywhere. They knew that was going to lead to a government shutdown. And then he turns around and calls it the Republican healthcare crisis. The Republicans didn't create Obamacare. The Republicans didn't create ACA subsidies. The Republicans didn't vote on the extension of these subsidies. It's a Democrat problem. But it's easy for them to blame Republicans because, most people, they're probably not going to do the research. It's just laziness. But we like to tell you guys both sides to it, okay? And ultimately, what's really happening is our members of Congress are trying to navigate this reality that they find themselves in. They're slave to these insurance companies. They literally sold out to the insurance companies during COVID. Insurance companies were going to take that deal the federal government's going to pay 80, 90%. Oh, sign us up. That means we can not only raise these premiums, but we're going to make more money. all they're really doing is just shifting the actual cost of healthcare. That's what's happening. And a lot of people on the surface, short term, yes, pass these subsidies so insurance premiums don't go up. What they don't understand, the premiums are going to go up regardless. The question is how much, to what degree, and how fast. Just think about it from this perspective. What is the price of your premium today versus 15 years ago? What is the price of your premium today versus 15 years ago? So the premiums are going to go up regardless. Okay. Not everybody's on ACA subsidies, for the record. Okay. This was in an effort, again, to push towards universal healthcare, in my opinion. It's just another form of it. If you think about it, if the government is already subsidizing 90% of healthcare, I mean, we're almost there. Okay. Let's continue.
Because we're fighting. It's not a partisan issue for us. In fact, the states that are most impacted as it relates to an Affordable Care Act tax credit expiration are all Republican states. We're talking about West Virginia, Wyoming, Alaska, Mississippi, right? Tennessee. Over and over and over again, we can go through the list. That's why you probably have some Republicans who would sign on if you guys could come up with something that actually looks like a bipartisan deal. And there's still been no conversations with House Republican leaders. Mike Johnson never said that. The leader never said that. You do have Republicans, though, who would agree with you on something if it was actually bipartisan in nature. That's what I'm trying to get at. Actually, Mike Johnson actually did say that there was always a plan to specifically deal with the expiration of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. In fact, he said that repeatedly. So I'm not sure what you're referencing. I think their plan is something that looks more like an HCA, which I'm guessing you would say is dead on arrival, too. If you wanted to set up these healthcare plans that are funded instead of going through the ACA, I'm assuming you would say that's dead on arrival, too, because there have been Republicans who've put that forward. Am I wrong?
Now, she's talking about a healthcare savings account, okay, where the government, instead of giving it to the insurance companies, and they give it to people to have a health care savings account. And when you go to the doctor or the pharmacy, you give them like a credit card, like an EBT card, and they charge that account. Now, I've heard some things saying about, okay, at the end of the year, then you get the balance. No. That has to stay in there, and it has to build up in case you have a catastrophic event that you need to use. If it's $500, let's just say, and you use $150 of that, well, then next year, if they add $500 to it, then you'll have $800. If you use 100 of that, 200 of that, let's say, okay, so you've got $650 left. They add $500 to it. That gives you $1,100. And that's what you use to pay your medical bills or go to the hospital or whatever. And it just stays in that account, and it can be used as life insurance. If you pass on, then that will go to your beneficiaries. But you can't just give it to them and let people go out and buy a TV at the end of the year and then put another $500 in, and then you have cancer and you've got no money in your healthcare savings account. That's not what it should be for.
And thinking you would not go along with that?
What I'm saying is that what's in front of us is the immediate expiration of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Republicans have had all year to deal with this issue, and they've refused to do it. So they're the ones who are not interested in finding a resolution to a healthcare crisis that they've created.
A healthcare crisis that they created. Okay, sure. Yeah. You know, what has created a healthcare crisis, ladies and gentlemen, are the insurance companies, the hospitals, the pharmaceutical industries, the lobbyists, and members of Congress. They are the source of the healthcare crisis, not healthcare itself. It's not complicated. They made it complicated. And the reason why they made it complicated, and when I say complicated, I'm talking about for the actual patient themselves, it's because it's all about money for them. It's not about the quality of care. It's not at all. That's why when Bernie Sanders is screaming about universal health care, he gets attention because it's hard to defend Obamacare, okay? You can't literally defend that today anymore. And just imagine where Obamacare will be in 20 years if they don't address this stuff. That's why I said, I started the show off with what? I am totally convinced today that the number one solution, the number one talking point we should be continuing to repeat, the main thing that people should be protesting in the streets, and if they want to riot and burn down businesses, they should be burning down businesses over this. Get money out of politics. As long as the insurance companies have a strangle on the members of Congress, they're not going to fix this. They'll kick it down the road. That's exactly what they're going to do. It's a talking point. It's a point they use to run for their campaigns. It's something for them to argue about and use as a political weapon, but it's not actually used to help the American people. Okay? And we see this every single day. And it's not just the Affordable Care Act, guys. Okay. It's also Medicare too. Okay. And the reason why I want to bring that up is because I want you guys to listen to this message from today's sponsor to pick on the wrong, to me, make sure the season. All right. So what did the president have to say about Obamacare and these ACA subsidies? Because he was just being interviewed on Fox News by Brian Kilmeade, because we know Democrats don't have an answer. Their answer is to continue to kick it down the road. That's the bottom line to this interview with Hakeem Jeffries. It's a stunning admission. They're not really all about fixing it. They're about delaying the inevitable, okay? That is exactly what they're about. They want to convince the American people, we're going to put together this bipartisan commission and we'll do that after we extend the subsidies. And listen, this is a thing in the investment world, right? When someone asks you, hey, are you going to invest in this stock? Listen, if you were going to fix it, you would have done it. If you were going to invest, you would have done it already, okay? That's just the bottom line to it. If they were going to fix Obamacare, that meaning Democrats, they would have done it already. They haven't done it. They don't have no interest in doing it. There's too much money involved here. Okay, just think about how much money they're receiving from these companies. Think about how many people in Congress hold stocks in these companies. It's fascinating. Now, let's hear what the president had to say.
Now, just as a reminder, the Democrats wanted $1.5 trillion added to the spending bill, the continuing resolution, so they could fund Obamacare and other things. That's $1.5 trillion, folks, is what they wanted to add. Like, hey, grows on trees, no problem.
Republicans like Katie Britt and Senator Cassidy and Tillis are saying, Mr. President, let's do something with the subsidies. Let's try to help people out. Are you going to start working in a bipartisan way?
Yeah, we do. We have something where instead of the insurance companies getting the money, they're making billions and billions of dollars. And it's lousy health care. They call it the Unaffordable Care Act, right? It is the Unaffordable Care Act. And I always said that. I said, this thing's going to explode. It's no good. And it is exploding. And it's unacceptable. It's too expensive for people. It's no good for the country, but it's worse for the people. It's lousy health care. And I want to give the money that we give to the insurance companies directly to the people. Let the people buy their own health insurance. And that's what's going to happen. I believe that there's good support on both sides for that. And Katie's working on it. A lot of people are working on it. Rick Scott is working on it. Many, many senators are working on it. And, we have a January 30th date coming up. I'd like to see if we could do it by then. They're saying, well, let's go another year. And then I said, let's see if we can get it done by January 30th.
They can't.
So there are a lot of people, including Democrats, that are working on this. Basically, taking your money, not giving the insurance, let their stock go down. Who the hell cares? They've made a fortune on this. Obama, what he handed to the insurance company, and I said it from the beginning. I said, this is an insurance company scam. And
it's interesting how the president says that he wouldn't mind insurance companies go out of business. Then I'd ask him, hey, what about these universities? I'm just poking fun. I think some of you guys know where I'm going with that. Again, I'm an all-in guy. All right, have the insurance companies go out of business, have the universities go out of business, burn it down to a certain extent. I mean, because what we're doing ain't working, right?
Yep, I have to agree with him. What they're doing certainly isn't working. All right, now this is he did a long podcast here. This is like an hour and 23 minutes. We're 18 minutes into it right now. Let me go ahead and click the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Devory Darkins. I'm following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's jump back here and slide down and close this out again. Dr. Steve Turley has something interesting today. First ever Antifa terrorist conviction as Soros panics. That sounds interesting. Let's take a listen. See what that's all about.
Overcome. For years, they told us Antifa doesn't exist. It's just an idea. It's a myth, a boogeyman invented by conspiracy theorists. But as of this week, that myth, that idea just walked into a federal courthouse and admitted they're terrorists. This is the first time in American history that anyone has been officially convicted of terrorist-related activity as members of Antifa. And now the real villain in all of this is about to be brought down. Wait until you see who's really sweating over all of this. It's going to absolutely make your day.
She heard the attack from her house.
Then we heard bam, 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 bam.
And watched what happened next with her phone in her hand.
I think a cop got shot over there, right there.
This video shows the seconds after prosecutors say nearly a dozen people, almost all from North Texas, ambushed an Alvarado police officer, shooting him in the neck, they say, after luring him to the Prairie Land Immigration Detention Center on the 4th of July.
As you just saw, back on the 4th of July, 10 to 12 people dressed in black military-style clothing, some wearing body armor, launched a coordinated ambush on law enforcement at the Prairie Land ICE detention facility in Alvarado, Texas. They vandalized vehicles, destroyed security cameras, and shot fireworks at the facility, housing 1,000 to 2,000 immigration detainees. But as it turns out, that was just the setup. When an Alvarado police officer responded to 911 calls from correctional officers, someone in the group shouted, "Get to the rifles," and opened fire. The officer was shot in the neck. Body camera footage captured the chaos as gunfire erupted. The wounded officer fell, but managed to return fire even after being hit. And it gets worse. According to court records, after the officer was down, additional shots were fired at him and at two unarmed correctional officers from the Department of Homeland Security. So this obviously wasn't a protest gone wrong. This was a planned assassination attempt on law enforcement officers. And as it turns out, by alleged members of Antifa. FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed that those charged in connection with the assault would indeed be charged with material support to terrorism after President Trump signed an executive order designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. And now, as of this week, 5 members of that organization have just officially pled guilty to material support of terrorism. Nathan Bowman, Joy Gibson, Seth Sykes, Lynette Sharp, and John Thomas each pleaded guilty to providing material support to terrorists in a Fort Worth federal court. They're facing up to 15 years in federal prison, and this is just the beginning. 9 more alleged members of what prosecutors are calling the North Texas Antifa cell have been indicted on charges ranging from rioting to attempted murder. But all of this, these 24 Antifa, alleged Antifa, I guess I have to say, are themselves just the tip of the iceberg, because what's happening right now as we speak is that federal officials are now scraping the entirety of all associations that each member of this cell has, because once an organization has been designated a terrorist organization, that means anyone associated with any member of the organization is potentially guilty of providing material support to the terrorist organization and is thus implicated in the terrorist designation. So that includes providing money, lodging, training, communications equipment, transporting members or helping them evade capture, sharing information or coordinating activities online. Again, you do not have to be directly involved in the violence in order to be implicated in it once the organization is officially designated a terrorist organization. And that designation has unleashed the full power of the federal government on Antifa. So we're talking FISA warrants, financial tracking through Treasury Department with the powers to freeze assets and monitor transactions, NSA surveillance, and FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force's surveillance. That's exactly what's happening right now as we speak with this Antifa cell. Well, again, alleged Antifa cell. But they are the point of entry for the mass surveillance and investigative power of the federal government to begin infiltrating and taking down the whole of the national Antifa network. That's what makes what happened this week in Texas so significant. It's not simply a matter of the first ever Antifa-related terrorist conviction. That's certainly significant enough. It's the fact that that conviction now becomes ground zero for tracing out the whole national web of Antifa's networks from the inside out. And you know who's ultimately sweating over all of this, don't you? We're about to see who's the real target in all of this and why his days are indeed numbered. While Trump unleashes a political reckoning, there is another crisis poisoning every American in some way, shape, or form, even in the comfort of our own homes. I'm talking about...
He's going into a commercial here. There we go, yeah.
In fact, according to our kimchi that's been found to its strong sense of premium and gang up, people are seeing improvements in non-GMO. I love knowing that I'm supporting is it. You can get 25% off your order by going to the link below, or for an even better deal, give them a call. My friends at Brightcart to order 33. It's widely recognized that two of the major sources for funding Antifa are George Soros's Open Society Foundations and the Tides Foundation. Both funnel millions into the organization like the Alliance for Global Justice, which redistributes cash to groups like Refuse Fascism, and the National Lawyers Guild that helps post the bonds for Antifa members who get arrested. The Tides Foundation alone gave over $1 million to the National Lawyers Guild from 2018 to 2019. But here's where this story gets really exciting here. Again, thanks to President Trump, Antifa, of course, is now officially a domestic terrorist organization. That designation isn't just devastating for Antifa. It's the legal foundation that allows federal prosecutors to dismantle the entire funding network along with the organization itself. So under domestic terrorism laws, anyone who provides material support to a terror organization can be prosecuted. So that means if you're writing checks, if you're organizing bail funds, if you're providing legal support, you're going down. And when you combine that designation with federal racketeering charges under RICO statutes, you can dismantle the very operations that are funding Antifa like that. It's not just Antifa that's getting dismantled here. That's the key. Now it's Soros's foundation that are subject to the very same systematic dismantling by virtue of his providing material support to a legally designated terrorist organization. Don't forget, RICO laws were designed to take down organized crime syndicates. And the key with RICO charges is that you don't have to go all the way to trial for the catastrophic consequences of RICO charges to take effect. One of RICO's most powerful features is this ability to freeze assets before trial. And the key here is that it prevents targeted organizations from moving those assets offshore, liquidating holdings to fund their defense. This is one of the reasons why, and I can assure you, Soros is absolutely freaking out over these convictions this week, because just the very fact that his foundations would be subject to RICO charges is enough to basically bankrupt him. And the psychological impact of that simply can't be overstated. I mean, oftentimes, again, just the very threat of a RICO indictment can force defendants to plead guilty to lesser charges, in part because the seizure of assets would be absolutely fatal for the organization. So in threatening Soros with RICO charges, which Trump has already done, Trump is playing some serious hardball. I mean, bottom line, the combination of terrorist organization designations with Antifa and RICO prosecutions for Soros's foundations, that represents the apex of federal power to dismantle organizations. These tools provide the government with the ability to freeze assets instantly, criminalize association, create vast networks of liability, and coordinate international enforcement efforts. For any organization facing these designations, the legal reality is stark. They face immediate financial paralysis. They face the criminalization of support from allies and potential liability that extends to anyone who assists or associates with them. I mean, they become social lepers overnight. The government's power in these areas is so comprehensive that the mere threat of a terrorist designation often proves sufficient to achieve the desired political outcome. So I do think we're going to see Trump crush Antifa. I think this week was the first of many, many more terrorist convictions to come. I don't think he's going to show them 1 ounce of mercy. And in the process, I think he's going to bring Soros and other billionaire funding sources for the Democrats. He's going to force them to heel. The very threat of RICO charges, just the threat of them, given that their bank accounts can be seized, is enough to get them to comply entirely with Trump's demands. And so it does appear that the 5 individuals tied to Antifa, who just pled guilty to the material support of terrorism, are just the beginning. They're just the tip of the iceberg in all of this. The days of Antifa and the Soros-like financiers operating with impunity are over. Trump designated them as terrorists. Their convictions have been pronounced, and justice is finally coming.
Thank the Lord for that. Let's hope it goes through. Let's hope nobody's holding this up. I know the deep state is, the swamp is deep and wide, and the deep state is, All right. Let me click over here on and show you that this video does come from Dr. Steve Turley. I'm following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Alrighty then. Let's jump back here and see what Doug in Exile has to say about "You've Been Canceled. Harvard president quits as Epstein's story is in ruin." Oh my goodness. Let's see what that's all about.
This episode is about the truth and what we actually know versus conspiracies that have gone around the world. Very difficult stuff coming up. This is probably one of my more difficult episodes to break to you guys in truth, because it's going to cost me at least 100 subscribers, because there's people that have a religious indoctrination and desire to believe certain things about Epstein that just there's no evidence for. Let's go. This all started with a guy attacking me on Twitter. So here's this is Troll Leo. So he's a troll. Leo. He says it's not. Then why would he, that is Kash Patel, defend them, defend Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, tooth and nail like he has? These people are clearly a disgrace, Doug TeNapel, and the fact that you blindly suck them off is disgraceful. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and especially Dan Bongino are lying scum. Now, between this Trollio Leo guy, I can be in his camp, or I can be counted with Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino. It's pretty easy side for me to take. And remember, this guy's also on Hakeem Jeffries' side, who said that Trump and Mike Johnson were running a Republican pedo cover-up scam with the Epstein files. Remember that. Which side are you on? I'm pretty confident and clear on my side. He says of me, they're protecting the left. So what do you think? Is Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Trump and Mike Johnson and Dan Bongino and me the kind of people that, given what you know about me, am I here to protect the left? This is ridiculous. This guy's an idiot. Okay, here goes. This is going to be a long one, guys. Just remember, the theme of this show is hold on and wait for the facts. Here's this guy says, arrest FBI director Kash. So we're going to get into the whole video clip and everything. Make an example out of people who say they're MAGA, but sucking off the leftists under the table. You're an absolute disgrace. So this is that piece of SHIT Doug TeNapel too. Why, that's me. I'm done with that BITCH. I guarantee he's paid to defend these people. Now, to my audience, am I paid to defend Epstein, to defend Kash Patel, to say that I'm a fan of Pam? I just want to know, I'd love to get paid to defend them. If anyone out there's paying, back the money truck up. So here's the big video clip that everyone is responding to. It's Kash Patel. Here he is. He's under oath, and he's being questioned by John Kennedy. Here's the substance of the quote. And this Adam guy, FBI director Kash Patel, under oath, says, quote, "There's no credible information that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked minors." That is the statement that shook the world because of what we've been set up to believe. It does not make Jeffrey Epstein innocent. I believe he's guilty. He's a scumbag. Trump said he was a pervert. but he was only arrested, you'll notice, on solicitation of a minor, not trafficking. So you have to ask yourself, why do all these people, Kash Patel right now, and Pam Bondi, who are busting hundreds of people for trafficking in Florida, Texas, Memphis, they're busting people for trafficking minors. Why not go after an alleged client list that no one's been able to find? 40 minors gave sworn testimonies that they'd been trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. Now he says this is treason. I only want to ask you in the chat below, given what you know about Kash Patel, would he commit treason and lie under oath if he knew that people were being trafficked and then he said they weren't? Okay, let's watch the clip together. This is fascinating to me.
There's no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
Okay, there's the Epstein files, guys. They've been released. They ran through them with an AI search because there's tens of thousands of documents. They searched names. They looked for one new. Now, the conspiracy theorists, they're all, I already called this, no matter how much they release of the Epstein files, it won't be enough. They'll go, well, something, something else. Because it's a belief system. That's my theory. I may not be right on it. I'm not doubling down. I'm only going, how can so many people believe something where there's no hard evidence? And everyone knows there's evidence there. They just haven't seen it. They bring out the victims in front of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they're all Democrat operatives condemning Trump for the shutdown. Why? And they're funded, some of them, by George Soros. Why? That's what I want to know. Those are facts. That's not opinion. Those are facts. Doesn't prove that the victims aren't there. Kash Patel's being very humble here, just going, look, the files that we have show nothing. I'm going to play the clip again. Listen very carefully.
There's no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday.
Do you believe that? Do you believe Kash Patel would have brought the case yesterday if there was credible evidence? I believe he would. I believe he would absolutely drop the hammer on anyone that was trafficking. They didn't traffic, it's solicitation. And solicitation is what they got Epstein on. That's why he went to jail, on solicitation. Not trafficking. So because trafficking means he's sending them out to other people, and there's no evidence of that. That's the news. If that's shocking to you, then I just want you to hold a beat before you jump down my throat and start saying that I'm getting paid, probably by the Jews.
He trafficked to other individuals, and the information we have, again, is limited.
He didn't traffic to other individuals. That's the crime that he's being accused of, and they have no evidence.
Other individuals, and the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
Okay, for the information that they have, that doesn't mean that he didn't do it. It means they have no information. They have no facts. They have no evidence. So where is it? It's all over the internet. It's all over the news. Your office, when people talk about it. Trump said it was a hoax.
In the files.
In the case file.
In the case files, there's no evidence. Everyone happy now? We went through all that trouble. Marjorie Taylor Greene lost her career over this, swearing that there was something in the files, and there's no evidence. Now I'm only going with the evidence. That's why I'm a happy patriot. Because to me, I care more about the truth than a preference. I have a preference. I want Epstein to be guilty of everything. I want hard evidence. I want video. I want pictures. I want names. I want proof. There's none to be found. It may be out there. It hasn't been uncovered yet. And now everyone's going to go like, well, that's fine. Let's go look under that rock. It's not good enough for me. That's not where I live. That's not where I put my headspace. Now, an incredible article came out written by Matt Taibbi. He exposed the Twitter files. That is, you would not have investigations into the FBI, into censorship of conservatives, into looking at FBI spying on pro-lifers, spying on Trump, covering up Hunter Biden's laptop without Matt Taibbi. So I trust him as a source. And he wrote an article, this article, that I think helps unpack the Epstein situation quite a bit. We're going to read it together. The Jeffrey Epstein story is beginning to smell like Russiagate. Once again, inference zooms past fact in a mania with Trump as a target. Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers said Monday that he was stepping back from all public commitments amid fallout from the release of emails between him and the notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This is from CNBC. Quote, I am deeply ashamed of my actions and recognize the pain they have caused. I take full responsibility for my misguided decision to continue communicating with Mr. Epstein. Summers told he was just upset that he was communicating with Epstein. Epstein was teaching him how to fall in love with a girl and to woo whatever girl he was enamored with. And this is an embarrassing nothing of a conversation, guys. I'm going to read it to you. This is the worst they could find. Was Larry Summers, and he voluntarily stepped down and canceled himself, not because it was demanded of him. While continue to fulfill my teaching obligations, I will be stepping back from public commitments as one part of my broader effect, Summers said as president of Harvard University. Larry Summers is a rare perfect 10 on the celebrity repugnance scale. He's everything most normal people can't stand about current crop of elites, an arrogant Davos fixture whose toad face always looks pleased with his legacy of disastrous policy decisions and who personifies his class's habit of lavishing exalted academic titles on intellectual mediocrity. Now he's pioneered a new ritual. Auto cancellation. I will be stepping out from public comments, he said. Is cancel culture seppuku, suicide, a way to give the mob a win before it even gets going? That's always a questionable tactic, but especially with the Jeffrey Epstein story, which is fast acquiring a familiar shape, a factually diffuse moral mania used as a disciplinary weapon by a media sector hungry for pelts and scalps. The exchanges between Summers and Epstein are head-poundingly banal, that is, stupid, empty, like 99% of the documents in the just-released trove of Epstein-related documents. It's 99% garbage. Summers is guilty of knowing Epstein and having pseudo-intellectual discussions with him. We're going to read some of them. They're terrible. About mistress nicknamed Peril, P-E-R-I-L, who Summers feared might stray. Epstein compared the possibility to finding life on other planets and tried to cheer Summers up by flattering the ex-Treasury Secretary's fascination with Bayesian statistics. This is what I mean by pseudo-intellectual elite garbage. Odds are limited to binary outcomes, Epstein said. Since you are immobile, do some homework. I concede your point on pessimism, but would under Bayesian rules feel comfortable, as humans are biased toward bad outcome avoidance. She's never going to find another Larry Summers, probably zero, Epstein said with encouragement for him to continue to pursue Peril. That's the kind of pseudo-intellectual gobbledygook and garbage that's in the Epstein files. And now we're going to pore over these documents trying to find, like Scooby-Doo, some little piece of evidence. It's not there. Is this what we're hanging him for? Is this it? I went on. Send Peril flowers, Epstein advised. The two men briefly discussed whether Ehud Barak would be prime minister. This was July in 2019. Then Summers wrote, a cape with mother, brothers, kids, and nephews and nieces, but of an Ibsen play. Then it was better than Chekhov, the playwright. When the two pals from there plunged into a Google-aided discussion of Lady with Lapdog, I shut the computer off. Congress voted yesterday to compel the Democrats of the Department of Justice to release the searchable and downloadable format of all files related to Epstein within 30 days. The House vote was 427-1. Higgins might be the only man with a brain rolling around in his head, and he got nailed on the internet for opposing it. Though Ro Khanna, Thomas Massey, and Mike Johnson all voiced concerns. Only Louisiana Republican Clay Higgins actually voted no, saying that this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt. Predictably, now Higgins is being teed up as a cancellation target. Get him. Get Clay Higgins. He's a traitor. As social media fills with meet the lone dickhead who voted against releasing the Epstein files type stories. That's what they're saying of a good man and a great patriot, MAGA, Clay Higgins, each of which lists every maybe naughty thing Higgins has ever done. This format, seen a lot in Russiagate with dissenters like Devin Nunes and Tulsi Gabbard, usually comes as prelude to a flood of stubborn own thinker faces, calls to step aside pieces, another fun part of the cancel culture ritual. This is a religion. For the record, I'm very much in favor of releasing the Epstein files. The country deserves to know whether there is what there is to know about this mess. And if it exposes systemic wrongdoings, those need fixing. However, it's extremely suspicious that a story that was deader than Epstein himself for years is suddenly the most important thing now that Trump is back in the White House, especially since a lot of the techniques used to drive the media panic in the first Trump term are back. The fact that some of Trump's top officials stoked public outrage about this subject en route to higher office, like Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi, changed the karmic equation this time, however. Between Epstein's beyond suspicious death, multiple prosecutions for sex crimes, inexplicable fortune, and breathtaking Rolodex of powerful friends, there's a lot to be curious about, but the public's fascination with Epstein is based on the notion that he was not only operating an organized blackmail ring, but doing so on behalf of intelligence agencies, probably Israel. That was the accusation. That story simply isn't there yet. It's not there yet. People, underline that. That story is just not there yet. And a lot of people who should know better, myself included, have assumed it is. It could be true, which is why releasing documents is a good idea. As of now, though, it's closer to Russiagate, in which confirmable facts are overshadowed by a mountain range of inference. That's Matt Taibbi. That's a very sober take. So that's the news. We have no actionable intelligence that Jeffrey trafficked. It might be there, but that's a faith, that's a belief, that's a suspicion, that's a projection. It's not sober. It's not judicious. It's not based on facts. It is an invention of an accusation and there's lots of people in the last 5 administrations that would have nailed him on it if he was guilty of it, including Kash Patel. Let me know what you guys think in the chat below. Let me know if you're hanging with me on this one. I'm Doug in Exile with the...
All right, there you have it, folks. Okay, and let me show you here that this video does come from Doug in Exile. I am subscribed to his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here, and let me remind you folks that these videos come directly from the producers that created them, Chicks on the Right, Devory Darkins, Dr. Steve Turley, and Doug in Exile. These videos I share, post on Murtech.com, where I have over 55 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos. There's the video from Devory Darkins. There's the video from Doug in Exile. There's the video from Chicks on the Right. And right here's the video from Dr. Steve Turley. So, as I said, I have over 55. This is your one-stop shop for no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth. The link to Murtech.com is in the description box. So, I invite you to come over. It's a free site. I don't ask for your name. I don't ask for your email address. I don't drop cookies on your computer. I don't have a bunch of ads popping up in your face. I put this together strictly to provide people with a place to come to get updated. I update this site multiple times a day. In fact, every day, multiple times a day, I update that site so that you can have fresh new information. And I cherry pick videos from there to do in my podcast, again, to give information out to people so they can have a place to come to get the truth. Okay? All right, let's jump back here. And Debbie BS gave us some comments here, so I'm going to copy those into, gave us some live chat, so I'm going to copy that into a comment, so it will be permanent with this video. Okay, I do want to share some information from Sea of Mud Apparel. Look like they got some pretty good stuff. Let's take a listen here.
It's rugged, durable, and made for folks who don't quit when the job gets tough. And right now, buy one, get one free, all the way through Thanksgiving.
Plus, if you send us a photo wearing your Sea of Mud gear, we'll hook you up with a 25% off site-wide discount code for your next order. So don't wait, gear up, stand tall, and show what rural America's made of.
Head to seaofmud.com right now. That's seaofmud.com. Use code RUMBLE for 15% off. And take advantage of the BOGO deal before Thanksgiving.
Sea of Mud Apparel, rural America's clothing company. Built for the forgotten, worn by the proud.
Okay, I'm going to drop my daily news wrap up tonight, as usual, about 9:30. Here's what I've got in it so far. Information from the Why Files, psyops from dead babies to UFOs. Now, this is not political, and there may be some information in here it's just speculation, but the Why Files, I found that to be very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and drop that. Got some more information here from Sky News Australia. Australia, talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Isn't that amazing? I like Sky News Australia. They get into, all over the place. Great Britain, and of course locally for them in Australia. And U.S. news, the kind of news that I won't find on like Fox, and certainly not on any of the other mainstream medias. Got some Truth Bomb Mary information, Gateway Pundit, SGT Report, Fox News, Greg Hunter, lawsuit to stop the CV-19 bioweapon shots. That sounds like good news. Stu Peters talking about Bill Gates. Letitia Hughes, Real News Weekly Wrap-Up. Information from We the People News and X22 Report. So I've got a lot of, it's going to take us throughout the night. Overnight, folks. Great information. Okay, again, let's jump back over here to Murtech.com. So, folks, go ahead and take a break. Grab a donut and a cup of coffee or a sandwich and a soft drink or a beer and meet me back here at 9:30 and we'll get our daily news wrap-up started. But in the meantime, I do want to thank you for spending your time here with me. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.